Release 5 United players.
5. Hey, Varane number 1.
Varane number
1. Number 2, Sancho. Number Martial. Oh my. Can I rearrange that and start with Martial?
Hello guys, this is another episode of the Liquid Sports Show. They call me Vincent.
And my name is Brian.
And today we have our guest, one and only. Of course, he's going to introduce himself.
My name is Imran Otieno, sports journalist. Work at Pulse Sports. I'm so delighted to be in this show. I've been looking forward to be here finally. I think after many months of Maze kutuma CV hapa.
You're finally here.
Finally Maze wame-accept Maze.
No, you've been telling me the only day you're free is Sunday. Looks like you're a very busy man.
Unajua Sunday ni Sabbath, so respect the Sabbath and keep it holy.
Right.
Yeah, welcome man. We're also glad to have you here. It's been a while and you're a long-term colleague as well, and it's a pleasure to have you here to discuss football.
Football. Yes. Obviously, we know the team you support. Manchester United. I wouldn't take you far. Let's talk about Manchester United and what is happening ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left. United has never been the same. Nini inaendelea?
Hey, do you have like 24 hours of space in that video? But I think like it's been 10 years. 10 years is such a long time to summarize. But basically, I feel like what has been going wrong at Manchester United is that before, like during Alex Ferguson's reign and football generally before then, power mostly fell on the managers. Like the manager was the ultimate. The manager could say, I don't want Sancho. If Sancho was during Ferguson's reign, Ferguson could have said, I don't want Sancho, and Sancho would leave Man United.
He's gone immediately.
But these days, there's social media. So if Ten Hag says Sancho doesn't train as to his standards, Sancho will go to social media and say, that guy is lying. Kitambo hakukuwa na social media. So that's the difference. Power has shifted from the manager to the players. And before, like now, the manager could call the shots. These days, it's the director of football. And before, like we didn't have a director of football. I think we appointed one in February this year, 2023. Yeah. And still he's learning the ropes. He's still not up to the task. I think the major difference between Man United and the other teams is the director of football. If you look at Liverpool, they had a director of football that signed Andy Carroll, Jay Spearing. Andy Carroll for record transfer, I think was 35 million back then. Signed very useless players. I'm sorry to Liverpool fans to use them, but they'll agree they were useless. But they got a good, I'm forgetting the name, they got a good football director, signed Van Dijk, Alisson, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, and you see
Fabinho.
And you see the kind of difference it has made. Most people say that Man United fans complain about the board, but the board is spending, I think we spent close to 1.4 billion.
The highest actually, if I'm not wrong.
Since Ferguson left, but see now that's where you need a director of football. You need someone who's going to make wise buys, and you don't need to buy everybody in one window like Liverpool did. You bring Mane from Southampton, bring Salah from AS Roma. The next window you bring Van Dijk from then Celtic. You realize your defense is still not up to the task. You bring Alisson. And that was it. So for me, I feel like the director of football is one position which we've been lacking. I was really hoping that we would sell the club, the Glazers would sell the club because they've been messing us. I think that if I was to pinpoint something that is wrong at Manchester, definitely it's the Glazers. They need to go. I was hoping the Qataris would buy it because they would bring a lot of financial muscle to the club. I think it's not only in terms of the players that we need. Remember Ronaldo's interview saying the gym, Old Trafford has rats. You pay a season ticket, which it's not like it's not worth it. We need a lot of renovations in the club, not only in the players. So Yeah, to summarize it, I think what has been wrong is the Glazers, and I hope that now that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is coming in, there'll be changes. He looks like a guy who knows how to run the club, because he's been asking why have we spent 1.4 billion but we have nothing to show for it. Yeah, I hope if Ratcliffe comes in, Kipchoge atakuwa hapo physical trainer, akimbize watu. I remember actually the first game of the season, was it Ten Hag's first season? We lost, I think, 4-0 to Brentford.
4-0 to Brentford.
Yeah.
And
it was a very
The
awesome
first 2
performance.
games, we lost to Brighton at home, and then lost to Brentford 4-0 away from home.
Then after that, Brentford,
They had to run.
he told them you need to run the kilometers that Brentford ran. And from then we put on a good run till the World Cup, came back, Rashford was on form. So if you ask me what's the problem this season, Rashford hasn't been firing. Last season, Rashford was firing, and Rashford kind of papered the cracks that we had, because he was banging in the goals, but now he's not banging in the goals. We don't have goals. I think in the Premier League, Sancho, our front line, Sancho, Højlund, Martial, and Garnacho don't even have a single goal. Imagine, that's our front line. No single goal.
The little one which was compared to Haaland. Anyway.
Højlund.
No,
Top scorer in the Champions League, you mean?
No, which position are you there? How many points? How many wins?
You're talking about Højlund, not
right.
He
points.
still has the most goals
No,
anyway.
I said the United attack was at some point compared to the likes of Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and also when you go to Liverpool, before Mane left, of course, and now you're telling me they've
don't
not
have a
scored
lot of
anything.
goals.
Now, I want to ask you another question. Might be complex, but I want to know, with the kind of structure, me as an Arsenal fan, I could tell from 2017, 2018, 2019, we got a direction through Mikel Arteta, and I said this is a team which could challenge. Actually, I predicted Arsenal could challenge 2024, right? Mm-hmm. But it happened, and right now Arsenal are doing well, and I believe we're going to discuss about title contenders later. But how many years do you think now United will need to become the same level they had? Like when you look at Liverpool back in the days, I think around 2013, 2014, that's when Liverpool started building, and we saw results in 2019, around 2018, 2019, right? So for United, 2023, how many years do you think United can be back at the top and start challenging?
Currently, with the current situation at Manchester United, it's hard to put a number, because we need to fix a lot of things for us to put a number to it. But if we fix them, I see probably 3 years, because United is a big club. I think we're the club, despite our position, we're the club that generates a lot of money. Despite being in the Europa League, we signed Kina Sancho. We can sign Anthony for 100 million and we won't feel a pinch. So financially we are sound, but now the decisions that we make. And for me, I think if you leave alone the board, the players, the things that need to change, the first thing that we need to do is turn the fans and make the fans to support the team. Most people will say that Arteta was the reason why Arsenal turned things around. Edu was the reason why they turned things around. But for me, I feel like the biggest turnaround that Arsenal made was making their fans support the team, like getting the fans behind the team. Because Mikel Arteta was there, you missed Champions League. I think the last few games after losing to Spurs. Edu was still there, but the moment you guys turned the fans and the fans were backing you, because I remember last season there were games that you were coming from behind and you go 1-0 down, but the fans
like
were...
Like the Bournemouth match.
Exactly. The fans were still behind you guys, and that's what we need at Manchester United. Manchester United, we go 1-0 down, but the atmosphere is flat. But Arsenal, 1-0 down, the fans are still supporting them. There's good vibes at the Emirates. AFTV is buzzing. But for us, we have nothing to say.
Only
like
critics.
Critics. And Manchester United is the biggest club in the world, no doubt about that. And it will always get, like everybody will have an input about Manchester United. And even our legends were supposed to put in a good word for our players, put in some support. I remember there was a time Roy Keane was criticizing Mourinho, and Mourinho said, these are the people who should come and talk to the players and tell them this is not how it's done, this is how it should be done. But don't go to the media and start criticizing them if you don't have solutions. Come and tell us the solutions so that you're still part of this club. Some of these players are ambassadors of the club. So why not come to the dressing room and talk to the players?
The same way Ian Wright is doing at Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ian Wright is a sound. I like him.
He's a sound and a football analyst. Actually, he tweeted recently when we played Copenhagen that there was no way that was a red card for Rashford. Well, maybe we can come to that later. But you said something about Arsenal fans, or there's a way Arteta made Arsenal fans believe, and they got behind the team. But I think maybe at Arsenal, they got a kind of structure as well, playing football that whether losing or winning, whether there's whatever goes on, whatever there's a storm, there's rain, they have a playing style. Do you think maybe at Old Trafford, things go silent because it looks like we were making progress as a team in terms of how we play football, but now this season it looks like all over the place. Like we can't even make 3 passes. So do you think that could be the problem, the reason why the fans are not behind the team?
Yeah, I get that. I think Ten Hag's biggest criticism rather was that Manchester United don't have a philosophy. Like, we lack a philosophy, we lack a definitive playing style.
A culture. Let's call it culture.
But you see, like, this season, the difference between this season and last season is, 1, Rashford is not banging the goals, as I said. 2, is there's a lot of injuries. We have injuries to Luke Shaw. We have injuries now to Casemiro, Lisandro, Varane was out. Wan-Bissaka was out at some point.
Luke Shaw.
I mean, we had so many injuries, and these injuries were in our back line. There was a time there are very many games we've played with a makeshift back 4. And you see, that doesn't help because we concede a lot of goals. If you look at the game against Copenhagen, Johnny Evans got an injury. When Varane came, I think, to be honest, Varane is past his prime, and Varane should leave the club. Another problem with Man United, they sign players just for short sales. You sign Casemiro, who's how many years? 31 now, probably. You sign Varane, who's past his best.
Bringing back Ronaldo.
For me, I say one thing. If Real Madrid sell you a player who's in the first 11, think twice. Think twice. I mean, they have a reason why they are selling that player. They wouldn't say, look at Sergio Ramos. Look at Di Maria. You can argue that Di Maria, Mesut Ozil. These guys know when they're selling players, and
they know it. Maybe they
maybe if it's a second string, Ian Robben, Wesley Sneijder, those were second string players, but they went on and shined. But if they sell you a first 11 player,
just know he's done.
That's a huge point. They really release their youngsters. There is no way you will hear like now Madrid are selling Vinicius Junior to Man United. They cannot do that.
No.
I want to ask you one question. Release 5 United players.
5. Varane number 1.
Varane number 1.
Number 2, Sancho. Number Martial. Can I rearrange that and start with Martial? Martial is because I'm thinking from the top of my head. The other player to be released. Who else?
Let's give you time for you to think about
Sure.
In the defense, in the midfield, there's a lot of squad players at Manchester.
Maguire?
Maguire has proven his worth.
Thank you.
Maguire.
I've been defending Maguire for the longest.
He's been bullshit. I don't know if I can curse in this show, but he's been bullshit.
He said, statistically, you can see the output I bring when I play. The win rate.
The win rate. He has a point. And for him to say that publicly on media, he has to have stats to back him.
John Evans?
Yeah, definitely. That's a stopgap. I mean, he won't last. At 35-year-old.
In a Premier League.
Yeah.
So you've picked Sancho,
Varane.
Casemiro? You still need him?
Yeah, Casemiro.
Rashford?
Casemiro. No, not Rashford.
Okay, Man United fans are actually against, but I get your point. Like you said, support your own, but that's what United fans are lacking right now. They want just to chase everyone out.
Yeah, you know, Man United actually has one very important statistic that no other club in the world has. I think Man United has over 4,000 games with an academy player starting in the first 11 every single game. Yeah. So Rashford falls in that category. I think for me, Rashford is a player that is a confidence player. If he doesn't have confidence, he'll look like who's the shittiest player in the Premier League. He'll look like a bang average player. But if he has confidence, guy will look like Mbappe. Yeah. But yeah, so for him, he needs to work on his confidence, and he needs to. I feel like most Man United players need to have a football IQ, especially Bruno Fernandes. Oh my God, that guy needs a footballing brain. I mean, Omse, that guy can be KDB on a good day, but anaweza kuwa Yusuf Mulumbu
all of a sudden.
On another day. And
Frimpong.
And Emmanuel Frimpong, that guy became a rapper.
But he's a rapper right now.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But you see, like Fernandes and Rashford actually, they need to learn when to release the ball, when to pass the ball,
when to hold the ball.
Yeah, when to hold the ball. I feel like KDB is the best at that. He knows when to release, he knows when to kick it long, he knows when to make it short. And I think all Man City players, there was a game, I don't remember the exact game, but there was a game that Man City were playing, and Haaland was angry at Bernardo Silva at halftime. And Pep came, instead of going to Bernardo Silva, he went to Haaland and told him, not every single time you'll expect a pass. There are some times you need to keep the ball.
Yeah.
And that's what Bruno doesn't know. Bruno every time, send it long. I mean, so sit down and play some football. You're in the midfield for crying out loud.
Imran, you've mentioned about players that we can release. They were 4, which is good. Maybe you just don't see the 5th player that we can release. How about players that we can bring in to make this team better? Do you have any players in mind that you think can play for Manchester United? They have the Manchester United DNA and they can fit into Ten Hag's system.
That's a tough one. But yeah, I think we start with the positions. I think we really need a central midfielder and a defensive midfielder and a good partner for Lisandro Martinez. I think Lisandro Martinez is good. He hasn't hit his top form after his injury last season. He's been shaky even this season at the start. So we need his partner. We also need a good right back. I feel like Dalo going forward is not that good. Defensively is very poor. Like that goal you conceded against Newcastle. I mean,
and Man City as well.
And Man City and Copenhagen. Yeah, defensively. And you see, like, for someone like Trent, he's not good defensively, but going forward is exceptional.
He will give you all you need offensively.
Yeah, so I feel like those are the positions that we need. We also need probably
a winger to replace Sancho, as you said, maybe because he's not playing anymore.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say, a right winger. But
we have Reece Nelson.
You want to give us Reece Nelson?
Never.
We don't want him, even for free.
Never. We'll actually pay you to keep him.
Bukayo Saka.
Manchester United were linked with Todibo. Would you take him as a centre back for his partnership with Martinez?
Yeah, he's a good player. But at Manchester United, you just don't need good players only. You need also the character. Like, because you'll be criticized. You'll be criticized on social media. You'll be criticized by our legends. You'll be criticized by guys like Werimo who have bundles, sitting on a bed seater.
I remember recently when we had this game against was it Newcastle?
Yeah.
We were just from shooting. I remember. We were after shooting. I get home very tired. It was late because we shot late, and as soon as I sit down, all I see is Newcastle scoring, and I was just like, "What the hell is wrong with this team?"
So you also need character.
And I remember their coach actually had some like bad words with Man United, saying, "We use that United match to train for us."
Train for us.
Like
Anyway,
At that level, now we will be talking more about Manchester United, but right now, or do you have any question?
No. Not again against Manchester United. I'm
We
tired
will
of
move.
talking about that team.
We'll move quickly, and main focus is we expected Arsenal to start the league, the current season, like on top, like last season, and we expected maybe Arsenal gonna challenge. Now, City is a good team, and City knows at that point at the top of the table and still early, and there's a team which 10 matches to conclude the season, they play so well. Which team do you think will challenge City this season, or how would you put your top 4?
I hate to say it, but I think Arsenal will challenge City. They have a good team. Still hasn't clicked yet for them, especially with the new signings. I feel like Kai Havertz. I think even you, when you signed Kai Havertz, you didn't know where he was going to fit in.
Exactly.
And you had question marks about him. Everybody, yeah. I don't know why Mikel Arteta chose to give him the faith. And I think he was your first buy, which means that he had so much confidence in the guy. I think he's being paid 300 and something pounds a week, which is a lot. He was signed for 65 million. So it shows the confidence the manager has in him, but he hasn't been able to show it on the pitch yet. I feel like Arsenal will challenge. The other team that can challenge, definitely Newcastle.
You sure?
Yeah, Newcastle can challenge. Not like till the end of the season, but they'll give a good fight till probably March, Feb.
Okay.
And I actually feel like if they drop out of the Champions League entirely and not go to Europa, it will be easier for them because they have such a thin squad right now. They have so many injuries. But if they have a full squad and if they buy in January, I feel like they are linked with Ruben Neves from Saudi. But Premier League clubs are voting against that. They don't want loans between the same investment because the Saudi League, I think the top 4 teams are owned by the PIF. The Newcastle is also owned by PIF. So yeah, Newcastle I think can also challenge. I have doubts about Spurs, especially now that they have injuries. I think Van der Ven has been immense at the back, but has an injury. There's also an injury to Maddison. I don't know how long he'll be out. There's also red card to Romero. But I think Ange Ball is doing a good job at Spurs. He's playing attacking. They went 9 men and were still attacking. They put a high line. And he was asked, why do you put a high line on your 9 men? And he said, for me, I'll always attack. And I will never change my philosophy. So I think they can also be in the mix, but they won't challenge till the end.
You've left out big names in Liverpool and...
a Man United fan never thinks about Liverpool. Thank you
for putting out Liverpool.
Liverpool. I feel like last season they had a shit midfield. They've sold Henderson and Fabinho. They've brought in McAllister, Gravenbach,
and
Szoboszlai, who's, I hate to say it, but a magnificent midfielder. But I think what they don't have is a defensive midfielder.
Exactly.
So Gravenbach has been tried there, Szoboszlai, McAllister, but he still hasn't clicked for them. So if they get a good defensive midfielder in the January transfer window, I think they can challenge. I think those are the 4. Liverpool, Newcastle, Spurs,
Arsenal, and who will challenge Man City?
Yeah, those are teams.
You finished with Liverpool and you named a few players. What do you think of Nunez?
Oh my lord, it's hard to discuss.
Javinho.
Ukwasi. But Nunez, thing about him is, you see, for a player to get so many opportunities, it means he's doing something right. Like he's finding himself in the right positions. But it's just the execution that hasn't worked. He started the season well. I think he probably has like 8 goals in the league, or 9 thereabout. So he's good. He finds himself in the right position, but just the execution. And for me as a coach, I would want that problem. Like I would want a player who finds himself in that position but misses. That means I only have to work on his finishing rather than a player who can finish but he doesn't get himself in that position. So I feel like if it clicks for him, he can be a good striker.
So you've mentioned your teams that you think will finish in the top 5, but you've left out 2 teams. One, Manchester United, another, Chelsea. So Manchester United, we have tried to do the heart surgery. You've already spoken too much about it. What is wrong with Chelsea?
Chelsea. I didn't come with my Ndudi, but but yeah, Chelsea. For Chelsea, it's simple. I mean, the change in ownership, Todd Boehly, and the investment that they've put in. I think they've spent close to 2 billion since they took over Chelsea. They are trying a model that has never been experienced in the Premier League. It hasn't been done before. It's only been done in American sports where you sign a lot of young players and hope that somewhere along down the line.
It once happened with Tottenham back in the days when they signed around 9 players.
Yeah, after selling Gareth Bale. I think some of them did, like Eriksen,
but
majority of it are Soldado, Etienne Capoue, Vlad Kirikez,
Soldado.
Dembele was in there as well?
Yeah, Dembele was one of the players that worked.
Yeah.
And Dembele, I feel like Dembele was the best dribbler.
Oh yeah,
the best dribbler, the best dribbling midfielder, central midfielder in the Premier League. Because if there was a time Wanyama was at Spurs, Eric Dyer, they usually give interviews and they were asked who is the best player at Spurs. None of them mentioned Harry Kane. They were like Dembele.
Dembele,
so
wow.
It shows the quality he has. But yeah, so for Chelsea, I think they've signed too many players. I think last season there was a story where it was mentioned that some of the players had to change in the corridor because the dressing room is too full. So you can imagine, if I'm the one changing in the corridor, it means I'm lesser than those guys changing in the dressing room. So there is that also. There's also no experience. I know they'll say Thiago Silva is at the back, but you need experience in key positions. I feel like they shouldn't have sold Kovacic. Kovacic would be a good mentor to the likes of Caicedo, Gallagher, and they also Enzo
Fernandez.
Yeah, so they needed that experience.
N'Golo Kante, do you think they sold the experienced players? I don't know why. What happened exactly? Releasing someone like N'Golo Kante, one of the best defensive midfielders we had in the Premier League, and also now retaining some players, recalling Gallagher on loan, and they just decided now Rudiger, somebody who is also doing well, and you release them.
Yeah, I think if I have maybe to step in on that, if there is a change in ownership of the club, there's a lot that goes on contract-wise and everything, and even sometimes the owner might even just tell the coach directly, we don't want old players in our team. N'Golo Kante started becoming injury prone, if you remember very well, during Lampard's time. And there was something towards it that probably it was end of his time. Even right now, if we are talking about him as a great player at Chelsea before then, but now, have you ever even heard of N'Golo Kante ever since?
No, at least we can hear about Firmino,
yes,
we can hear about Ronaldo.
It's probably because he's a silent guy, but even on the pitch, things are not giving because his knees or his injuries are so much more. So there's that when it comes to change in management of the club and ownership as well. So I think maybe that is that about Chelsea, or do you have anything maybe you can add about Chelsea?
No. For me, I've always been telling you, such young squad, you need to give it time. But then you can give it time and you realize you're wasting it.
Yeah.
Because there was a time Arsenal had the same.
2009, late 2000, early 2010.
Yes.
Nasri.
Samir Nasri,
Wilshere.
Jack Wilshere, they're good players. We had Denilson. People, good players, but at the end of the day, they couldn't manage anything. Why? You putting those kids to come and face Ryan Giggs. You understand? Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes. It cannot just work. Those are experienced players. There is that atmosphere. When you take somebody like right now, Bukayo Saka, to play at Old Trafford, you wouldn't care. Right? But how about you put somebody like Smith Rowe?
Yeah, there is that doubt. Like we have a very good example right now, Mason Mount, a player who looked like he has a very good potential,
then
coming into a team that we've been doing bad. But again, what is his fruits? But then, what do you think about him, Mason
number
Mount?
7?
The cast number 7.
Yeah.
Mason Mount was like Havertz. The way you signed Havertz is how we felt when we signed Mount. We didn't know where we would fit in.
Yeah.
We didn't know why we signed him. It's a player we didn't need. It's just because he's English and he probably...
The media is always there hyping
so
him.
that's why we signed him. But I feel like even at Chelsea, nobody really knew his best position.
Yep.
So is it a wide midfielder? Is it
CM.
Central? So, but I think it hasn't clicked for him. His confidence is taking a hit game by game, which is bad for him. But I think
0-0 what now?
7.
It's beyond that.
09 or something.
007, yeah. But Mount, I feel like Chelsea, man. Chelsea is another Real Madrid. When they sell you a player,
They
Think about it.
yeah.
think about
Now,
it.
all said and done, we've talked about United generally as the team you support and also how we expect your top 4 to look like. Now, I want to go and talk about something sensitive which has been happening in the Premier League right now, and this is the VAR. That somebody who said one day VAR will eat its own children, and it's happening. It has happened against Liverpool, against Man United, against Arsenal, against Tottenham Hotspur, against Chelsea too. What's your take on this? Like, because last time we talked about it with Remo, and I told him I have no problem with VR, but I have issue with the people who are interpreting the videos. What's your take on this? Do you feel there are teams which maybe VR is trying to shut them down?
Yeah, I feel like there are teams in the Premier League that can confidently say that. The likes of Wolves. Yeah. Wolves have been really unlucky with the VR this season. But yeah, I think I share the same sentiments as you. For me, there's no problem with the technology. The problem is the referees. If you look at VR in other leagues, it's being used.
Well,
it has some question marks, but at least it's not every single weekend. It's not every single game. And for me, I'd equate VR to like a vehicle. A vehicle can be in top condition. You can buy a brand new vehicle, but if the driver is not good, it will definitely get an accident. So the referees are not good. For me, one way of improving it is Premier League is the best league in the world. It's the most watched league in the world.
yeah.
And the reason why it's like that is not because they only have English players. It's because they buy the best talent across the world. Why not get the best referees across the world, just not English? Get a top Italian referee, get a top Spanish referee, get a top French referee, German, even African referees.
Yep.
We have good African referees.
Yeah.
So get these referees, put them in the Premier League. And also, I feel like the reason why VR is so much criticized in the Premier League is because everyone has an opinion about it, even commentators. Like you can find that a decision is not that contentious, but how the commentator talks about it makes you as a fan angry about it.
Yeah.
Because they talk too much about it. And the VAR, I think also, what should be done with VAR is they should also put a player in that booth when they're making decisions. Because, for example, that Romero red card against Chelsea.
Yeah.
For me, I've been a defender, although amateur, so probably my opinion doesn't count. But having been a defender, I mean, there's nothing much Romero could have done. He cleared the ball, and you see, if Enzo Fernandez was like half a meter away and he still got him, that's when you can give him a red. But it was centimeters, bana. Centimeters just
away from the ball. A bounce ball.
Yeah. So
in your own territory as a defender, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So if I clear the ball, I have no control of where my foot is gonna land. Because for me, I've cleared the ball. That's my work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me, I think those are the changes that should be made in VR for it to be successful. But it's a good technology, and also we should not only rely on VR. We should. I feel like La Liga is a good example of technology. Like they have the automated offside.
Even the Champions League as well.
Yeah,
right?
even the Champions League. So, and for La Liga, they have good graphics that if a part of the body is outside, there's that distinct line that shows you that this guy is offside. And
Yeah.
there are cameras like all over the pitch that show you, like, I think that game against Newcastle, they were saying they didn't have a camera angle that showed that Anthony Gordon was offside.
But essentially, we as fans could see it.
But you see, that's the
get it.
problem. That's the
Yeah.
problem. You see, from a camera,
Yeah.
you might draw a line and see that Anthony Gordon is offside, but you don't know which angle that camera is. Maybe
Okay.
it's at a 30-degree angle. So even if you draw a straight line, it might be straight, but according to the byline or according to the lateral lines that are drawn, it's not straight.
Yeah.
So that's another problem, because I mean, if it's the most watched league in the world, then they should have cameras everywhere.
So it's we blame the incompetence with it.
Yeah, the referees.
Because I remember when
I mean, like, the 2018 World Cup, there was no English referee, which shows the quality of English referees.
Yes.
In the 2022 World Cup, I think it was only one referee. So it shows English referees are not good. So why still trust them?
because I feel at some point maybe they're being bribed to
To
do
not
something.
even right. Some of them support these teams. I remember, is it
Mike Dean.
Mike Dean
Yeah.
or
He was celebrating a
for
Spurs
Tottenham.
goal.
Spurs goal?
He was like,
Let's go.
let's go.
Yeah.
So like such things, and I feel now the biggest problem we have, because the interpretation of the VAR is bringing different. You see, your argument is the tackle after Romero cleared the ball, he landed on Enzo Fernandez. But for me, I'll tell you, it was supposed to be red card, because you as referee, that's how you will interpret it, and that's the report you'll give. But I'll say the tackle or the move he made is a career-ending tackle, which with that argument, it's a straight red card. You understand? But the biggest problem has been that we've seen the same fouls happen.
Inconsistencies.
Right? Like the same way I follow Rimbo, he will get a penalty. But the following day, another person will fall exactly what I did,
And then
but they walk
gets away
He
with
gets
it.
away with it. You saw what happened with the Bruno Guimaraes when they're playing against Arsenal, knocking down Jorginho like twice.
Yeah.
It is the same
Martinelli.
thing. If you remember what happened with Martinelli during Wolves' match, pushing somebody when there was a throw-in, then chasing and pulling them down, and they was given 2 consecutive yellow cards, 1 for that, 2
for this. Get out.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
So
VAR
I
for us.
think, do you think maybe the referees lack that like education of how to handle such matters? Do you think they really need that? Like, go sit down now, guys. We need to assess everything. You understand? For example, we've been doing this and it's not working. And Remo is giving me this idea. You're giving me this idea. I also come with this idea. Why can't we come? We have a seat, then we discuss. Now, this is the final thing we should need to do.
We should always be doing what is
It's hard to come up with such,
Yeah.
because you see, for football it's only a rule. It's hard to, because football, there are 22 players in the pitch.
Yeah.
There are different possibilities. Like if you put each and every like it's just how formations are come up with. There are different possibilities, so you can't say that this will apply to this other one.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying
The events might change.
They need to have a former player to be in that booth, because you see, like for that Romero foul, I mean, as a player, and that Rashford red card in Copenhagen, I mean, as a player, I've done the right thing, and I didn't have the intention to
Now the problem,
injure this guy.
The problem is bringing Steven Gerrard and you ask him about a decision against Man United.
Definitely no, that can't work. But
That can't work, yeah.
Yeah, but you see, like what I'm trying to say is that these guys will help make the decisions,
The right
the
decisions.
footballing decisions, because they've been in such situations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like if they include them, it will make
a lot of sense.
Yeah, it will make a lot of
Which
sense.
I totally agree with you. And VR has been in discussion ever since it came up, and we're just hoping that it's got to improve. So for Premier League, I think we've seen most likely how all the other teams are going to do. But now, as we wind up this session, maybe one question for you. What should Manchester United fans expect this season?
Can I answer that? No, don't.
What we should expect.
What Manchester United fans should expect from your perspective? What should they expect going onwards this season?
Yeah, I mean, we've invested a lot in the squad, so we have huge expectations. But a realistic and good expectation would be Champions League next season.
Champions League.
Because Champions League means we sign good players in the summer transfer window, and means at least we can now start setting the ball rolling for next season, and at least we can get back to where Manchester United was, hopefully. I think this is the probably 13th time I'm saying that, hoping Manchester United will come back to where we are.
Yeah, I've been here. We have suffered together.
Eric Ten Hag.
Every day of my shooting day here, I have been saying all the things that we need to do as a team. Players not running in the game. Sometimes the manager makes some decisions. It all goes back to the management and the ownership of the club, and it's just a mayhem right now. But yeah, as you said, let's expect to see if Champions League football.
Yes, still with Ten Hag. Do you think he's still the right coach for you guys?
Yeah, definitely.
He is.
Definitely. I mean, I have no problem with Ten Hag.
He
The only problem I
yeah.
have with him is the lack of philosophy, and sometimes his man management. Like the Sancho situation. I mean,
Could have done better.
yeah, could have done better. I heard that Sancho is being served lunch in a tin box and
Outside,
outside the canteen.
he's training with kids. I hear something like that, which is really.
Yeah, but he's definitely the right guy. I feel like he's brought in discipline that lacked at Man United. At least we don't have a philosophy, but at least judging from last season when we had every player fit, we had like at least a structure, a way we are playing. This season we've had a lot of injuries, so it's hard to judge. But as of now, he's still the right guy. I'd give him time. But yeah, he has a lot of deadwood in that squad that needs to be cleared. He also needs to sign good players. And thing about him that probably I would say is not right with him is he's been given the backing. He's signed
A number of
his former players, Amrabat. He signed Lisandro Martinez, Anthony. I mean, Anthony for 100 million, and you can't get the best out of him. I mean, that's jokes. That's
That
pure
did.
comedy. Pure comedy. So,
But you remember Eric Ten Hag said errors do come to an end. I think it's time we end this episode.
Yeah.
Or do you have anything else?
No, I don't have. Our fans watching back at home, they should always just subscribe to our channel, of course, because we have greater contents coming up, and it's been good to have you, Imran, and we're looking forward to have you again in our shows, especially the preview ones, where we are predicting
That's what I want, actually.
the games, where it's Arsenal versus Manchester United. You want to see
I
should-
suck at prediction. It makes me look stupid.
You should come here and we discuss combined 11.
Combined 11.
We tried
That one.
Manchester United versus Man City. I think we had which player?
Yeah, we had Bruno.
We had Bruno because KDB was injured.
Yeah, and also had, was it Maguire?
We had Maguire.
Yeah,
but
because
he was
Akanji
on form.
was
Because our combined 11 is based on
Form.
current form.
Yeah, right. It's been good. Again, we will be able to see you in the next episode. My name is Brian,
They call me Vincent.
and our guests,
Imran Otieno.
aka biggest Manchester United fan, and see you guys again in the next one.
Adios.